Well, hello everybody. And how are you today? I hope everybody is doing all right out there. And I hope that your day has been very good or is very good, depending on what time of day it is you're watching this. And I'm not going to be before you long, but I do want to talk to you about something very important. And it's something that I've been thinking about for quite some time now. And that is what put me out with Amazing Grace. That's right, the hymn Amazing Grace. I don't really care for that hymn anymore. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, Amazing Grace has been sung for generations. It was written by a former slave trader. And I guess he had an epiphany of sorts. And that led him to repent, in a sense, to turn his life around. And supposedly the Spirit of the Lord fell upon him, and that's when he wrote the song Amazing Grace. And we all know how it goes. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. But it's that word wretch that I don't care for. And it's that one word that has pretty much caused me to back away from the entire hymn. Therefore, if anybody sings it in church now, and especially like as a congregation, I'd rather just keep my mouth shut. Or if I sing it, I just won't sing that word wretch because I don't care for it. And I'm gonna tell you why right now. Because in September of 2016, and this was early on a Saturday morning, as soon as I woke up, I felt this urging, this tugging at my inner core. It was tugging at my spirit to get up and do some research, look up the meaning of the word wretch. And to this day, I am so glad I did, because the word wretch simply does not describe me. Never has, and it never will. The word wretch means an unfortunate or unhappy person, a miserable person. I'm talking about someone who experiences nothing but bad luck, and I'm talking about it's just one thing after another. That is the definition of the word wretch. And that is precisely what the writer of the hymn Amazing Grace had in mind when he penned the song, because he considered himself as a wretch after all of what he had done during the time of slavery, trading slaves, on the ships and stuff, transporting them from Africa over here to America, over here to the United States. And I tell you, that song, and black folk really can sing that song. I mean, if you want to hear Amazing Grace song in a soulful manner, go to any black church in this country on a Sunday morning or any time when it's going on. And if they sing it, I promise you, it will set your soul on fire. It will. But sadly, a lot of folk, and particularly black folk, don't have an accurate understanding of the song or many of the songs that we sing. And yet we get happy off of them. We jump and shout and run and holler and dance and turn pews over and turn flips and do cartwheels and everything else, and don't even know what it is that we're singing, don't know the meaning of words in these songs. So this word right here, wretch, that is the biggest reason why since 2016 I have not particularly cared for Amazing Grace. I'm very reluctant to sing that hymn now in any setting, whether it's in church or, it could be anywhere. Like sometime, like they have a Black History program or something, or it could be maybe a funeral, homegoing celebration, or anything pertaining to whether it's a historical event, or it could be a grand, big thing going on. If Amazing Grace is going to be on the order of service, on the program, well, they can miss me with that, because I don't care for it. I mean, I might lip sync or whatever, but everybody know that's not real. So I tell you, no. Now you may like Amazing Grace, you probably do, and if you do, good. I'm glad you do. Now, at one time I did. When in early childhood, I loved Amazing Grace. I loved to hear it sung in church, and I loved to sing it myself. I really did. But, now that I'm older, and now that I have an accurate understanding of things, as opposed to when I was a child, because, as the scriptures say, when I was a child, I thought as a child, and I understood as a child, and everything, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. So now that I'm an adult, well into my 40s, in 2 more years, I'll be half of 90. I will be the halfway mark of where my late grandmother was when she transitioned. I don't have time to be going back and forth with folk that insist on walking around being ignorant. And for many years, I was ignorant to a lot of things, especially with regards to spirituality and religion. Because, we were taught so many different things growing up. And one thing that we was taught was, well, let me tell you what I heard as a child growing up, and have heard it many times even as an adult. You had these older people in church talking about, we're all sinners, saved by grace. Well, my thing is this: how can you be both a sinner and saved by grace? Because to me it seems as if one would cancel out the other. I mean, how can you fall into both categories at the same time? A sinner and saved by grace. I mean, come on now, that doesn't make any sense. And the reason why it doesn't make any sense is because there's no logic in it. But a lot of times when it comes to religion, they tend to not operate in the field of logic. It's all about faith and believing and accepting. That's what it's all about. But sometimes you got to have some sense. You got to know how to think for yourself and be willing to sit down and do some type of research, because if you don't, then you'll be walking around here lost. And not lost as they said so-called sinners are, but you'll be lost intellectually, lost mentally and emotionally. I mean, you will be in a psychological desert. of sorts. You know, I mean, you don't want to be like that. So I would encourage all of you to do some research. Think for yourself and don't just fall for the okie doke, because we all have. But once you wake up and learn the truth about things, that's when you start to back away, because you know better. And when you know better, you do better. So thank you for watching. And if you like it, that's good. Comment and subscribe and tell me what you think. And start doing research for yourself. And see, won't your life get better? I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.